to call the meeting to order for the Ames Community College Board of Trustees. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just for your information, normally Mr. Jack Ratzliff was scheduled to be here to receive his award for Distinguished Fellow. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it. So today I'm going to exercise the board chair's prerogative and say a few words about the Aviation Center. Dr. Bornstein, would you join me up here? Please. I'm not sure. We're going to have a little fun. This was an incredible project, and we all know. And Eric alluded to some of the struggles and some of the hurdles that we faced and how we overcame them. And last August, just a month ago, was our 1-year anniversary. And because of COVID and everything else, we were unable to celebrate that 1-year anniversary. So I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations to Dr. Bornstein for being our pillar of strength through all of that, and being the leader that you were, and for your courage and perseverance and your vision in establishing this vision, or this aviation center. And so we talked about getting an airplane, a real airplane, but we figured you wouldn't approve the budget. So, but we did get you an airplane.
No way. No way. Oh, that's why it's up. You have to teach me how to drive it.
There's a reason I'm not taxing a bit right now.
Oh my God.
There you go. Airplane.
It is.
So, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you, and we'd like to present that to you and by extension to Eric and all you folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a class for this?
Sure, Lyle's going to teach you.
Wow. Well, okay, then I'll just say a word or two. Just to, yeah, we're speechless. However, you alluded to, the challenges and the successes and the accomplishments of the process. And I think that's what we all celebrate when we're here, every time we're here, because that's why we're here. Ames Community College exists to advance our communities and advance the programs that we have. And sometimes the advancement is a little bit more challenging, and sometimes it's a little easier. It doesn't mean that the challenge isn't worth the outcome. And I think this is a perfect example of having lots of difficult conversations, having lots of data, coming back to the drawing board, having more difficult conversations, having more data, and doing it for all the right reasons. And then this is the outcome that we have. And again, this is why we're here. So the result is definitely worth the process. So thank you for all of everything you've done, and certainly for cabinet in the last couple of years as we move through this, and of course for the board, who had those difficult conversations and came to a conclusion that we're now standing in. So it's all of our celebration. So thank you very much. It surprised me very often.
Okay, that was fun. Thank you very much for indulging us. Next, first on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I would move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment today? Okay, there is no one here for public comment. And just for the record, we are doing public comments now by email. The email address is in the packet. It's posted. So since we're still doing social distancing and a lot of this by remote or virtual meetings, if you out there in the public do have any comments or questions, please submit them by email. They will be reviewed and they will be brought to the next meeting that we have, if there are any. Thank you. Next, presentations from guests and representatives to the board. And I think I'd ask Director Eric Himmler to step forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you all again for this opportunity. Again, good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Dr. Bornstein. Today I have the privilege of introducing you to another remarkable student, Rudy Aist. Rudy is on course and on glide slope to graduate with his General Aviation Pilot Associate of Applied Science degree this December, which includes his commercial pilot's license. Rudy was born with a rare condition that eventually rendered his left hand and wrist underdeveloped. As Rudy continued his flight education here at Ames, flying became more difficult and painful, and the need of a prosthetic more vital. That is when we, the aviation team, reached out to Dana Jones for support. Dana went to work coordinating efforts with the Financial Aid Office, Student Emergency Funds, and the Ames Foundation in order to assist Rudy with the funding needed to obtain a workable and flyable prosthetic. On July 11th, Rudy was featured in the Greeley Tribune. From there, one TV station, one radio station, and 14 newspapers, including the Denver Post, the Washington Times, and the U.S. News and World Report featured the story from the Tribune. I'm humbled and privileged to introduce to you an Ames Aviation student and pilot with great perseverance, the remarkable Rudy Aist.
Adjust this maybe? I think that's okay. All right. First off, I just wanted to say thank you all for allowing me this opportunity. I'm both very excited and very nervous to be up here. Here in the aviation sort of industry, when somebody gains immediate interest in flying or immediate interest in aviation in general, we call that catching the bug. And I caught the bug when I was in Boy Scouts. It was the summer going into my senior year of high school. And we were going to Bear Lake, Utah, which is the summer camp. And on a whim, I just signed up for the aviation merit badge. I had no previous experience in aviation. I honestly didn't really know what it was. I just wanted to add it to my collection. On the Friday of that week of summer camp, the very last day, the last requirement of that merit badge was to go up in a plane, single engine, low wing, very similar to what we have here, and fly, more or less. The pilot was sitting on my right, I was on the left. We had our big old headsets on. We finally got up to altitude, and he looks at me and he says, "Hey, do you want to fly this thing?" And I'm like, "Do I?" I got to handle the controls, and I did like this number a little bit. I rocked the wings. He said that was enough, and that's where that memory ends. It was exhilarating. I never forgot that memory, and I never will. But it wasn't until a few years later, and after a couple years doing theater at UNC, that I realized I didn't want to do that anymore, and I decided instead to come to Ames. It was between this and Metro State. They also have a flight program, but my parents lived down there at the time. And I ultimately just decided Ames. I already lived in Greeley after going to UNC. All my friends were here anyway, as in 2015. And I discovered you have a flight program, so I gave it a shot. As you probably know, and Eric mentioned, I do have a disability in my left hand. And I was born with a condition called radial ulnar synostosis that's in both hands. Actually, this hand was born normal. But basically, it's a disconnect between the radial and the ulna in the forearm, and it prevents movement, rotation specifically, and I can't fully move the hands. I can't flatten them like most people can. And so that's that condition. About 6 or 7 years old, the doctors thought that was going to be a big issue growing up. So they went in there and they did whatever they did, but they put the cast on too tightly, and it killed the muscles, and it killed the nerves, and it killed the skin. And then when they took it off, it was all just more or less dead. I've had 17 surgeries total. And this is probably as normal as it's going to get. But what brought me to Ames, kind of coming back, was convenience initially, but ultimately what kept me here was the support I was given, the support I was shown. I don't know how you do it, but Ames has always seems to hire the most passionate and most supportive people. And I would not be here today if it wasn't for the people who want to see me succeed. Specifically, my very first flight instructor was Wayne Langham. He's now in the airlines. And he saw that my hand was going to have a lot of difficulty grabbing the yoke and pulling it back. And he was the mind behind the first device that I had, which was just a baseball glove with a little hook on it. And there was another end on the yoke that I would manipulate the controls with. And of course, I've seen many other devices since then. And Wayne was patient with me. He was understanding. He was extremely supportive. And he's the reason that I got my private pilot license at all. Otherwise, I probably would have given up. But the biggest thing for me, even bigger than that, is that despite the program and Ames as a whole, just being a 2-year degree, I've been here since 2016. I've been allowed to stay in the aviation program and allowed to continue my aviation career despite it only being a 2-year degree. And Rob and Eric and Alex, and you all understand, it hasn't been up to me on how quickly I should be progressing through the program. A lot of it's just been trial and error with different devices. I've been through a lot of pain, and Ames, in fact, has helped me fund this device here, which is the prosthetic. Has this cool little hook on it this was on my own, but the device itself, this black carbon fiber make itself was what Ames helped create. And I fly without pain now. I used to fly every day. I would go up, I would fly with pain, and now this makes it so I don't have to do that. And Ames has meant so much to me that after I graduate, I will get my flight instructing certificate. And I want to reapply or try to reapply to Ames to give back the support and the patience and the understanding that's been shown to me. And then decades from now, I might apply for NASA, but until then. But I really want to thank you all again for allowing me this opportunity to share my story.
Rudy, I'm going to walk up there and give you something. I want to thank you we all want to thank you for sharing your story. We also sincerely want to thank you for choosing Ames and being part of the Ames family. It sounds like it's been a mutually beneficial relationship for us and for you. So thank you so very much. When students and alumni share their stories with us, it helps us, not just the board, but certainly the rest of the college, keep in mind why we're all here. You're why we exist. You're why we're here. And so thank you so much for becoming a bit of a public figure recently, but more importantly, thank you for having the courage and willingness and faith in Ames to choose us and to stick it out. And we very much look forward to the time when you're a flight instructor.
Thank you.
Matt. Good.
Amazing. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Another hand for Rudy. Well, Rudy, thank you very much for being here. And this is always my favorite part of the meeting. And so thank you for being part of it. Thank you, Eric. Okay, representatives to the board. I think we have a couple of Zoom representatives, Student Government Association. Alicia, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, there you are.
Hi, how is everybody?
Doing well.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say quickly, thank you for allowing me to be here. And good afternoon to all you guys. I would briefly like to just reintroduce myself. My name is Alicia Wilkinson. I'm so excited this year to be president for the Student Government Association. I will be graduating in the spring with my psychology degree, and then I will be attending UNC. So I have lots to do. This year, my big goal is to represent and advocate for students to the best of my ability. And I just truly appreciate for you guys allowing me to be here and report and share our engagement with students. So first off, with SGA's business for last month, SGA held a Q&A with SICE administrators in the first week of classes, and it was very successful and informative for the students that attended. We are creating short videos summarizing the information we learned to share with students who are not able to attend. So overall, our goal for this semester is really to promote community of care. We want to help students find the fun and positivity in the current COVID environment and be there to support students during this time of change. And it's really to inspire students to demonstrate care for their communities by engaging productively and passionately in the upcoming election as well. Also, with the Campus Activities Programming Board, they're very excited to be honored during the Constitution Day with our upcoming event, the Gangs to Gardens, which is a virtual event that features Dr. Etif DJ Kavim Vida, which is an ego hip-hop rapper, educator, and vegan chef who will be teaching us how to have a voice when it comes to nutrition and inspire others with his love for music and eating healthy. Additionally, the peer specialists in the Center of Diversity and Inclusion will be facilitating book discussions on the book How to Be an Anti-Racist by Dr. Ibram X. Kendi. So we do have a lot going on and coming up as well. And here in October is really SGA's big moment. And we'll be working really for the advocacy, mostly on the upcoming election. So I do look forward to updating you all on our next meeting about some of the advocating that SGA will have for our students. So that's something that's really passionate with us right now. And I'll definitely love to share with you guys what we've worked on. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the report. We appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing from you many more times.
Thank you.
Next is the Ames Faculty Association with Brooke Elsie. Brooke, are you there?
I am. Hi. From my kitchen table? Good afternoon. How is everyone? Hello, Chairman Oxigard, members of the board, Dr. B. I'm happy to be here today. Have 8 inches of snow up by me, so I hope everyone's warm today. So I have some things for the AFA that we'd like to discuss and just let you know about things that we've been accomplishing lately. So the first item I have today is an art exhibit that's happening at Mason and Main downtown. It's on 16th Street in Greeley. We have Professor and Chair of Graphic Media or Graphic Design and Rich Media, Brian Dunning. He has a couple pieces in there. I included a packet. So we have Brian Dunning, and then when I was looking on their website, I see that also our instructor of art, Stephanie Burchett, has some pieces in this annual bicycle art show as well. So I was not aware of that beforehand, so I apologize for not having her name in there as well. But Stephanie Burchett has some works. It looks really cool. If you have time, it's open until the end of October. So that's the first item. The second item I have for you today is a new mentoring for online faculty program that we have started this semester. So the Online Excellence Committee and the FTLC got together and sponsored this new mentorship. It is only for online faculty. And as we know, we are all teaching in this at least partial online modality these days. So there is a lot of new faculty members online. And this way we can pair up new faculty online with those that have been teaching online already for some time. The goal is to help support faculty new to online teaching as well as continuous growth among the seasoned faculty to improve online learner experience. That is being coordinated by Professor of Psychology, Francie Rotini. So far, I'm hearing wonderful things about that program. The next item I have for you today is Professor of CIS, Jen Bailey, just helped run a boot camp for worldwide intermediate programming students to become junior Android developers. So it was a 12-week boot camp of intensive study, and one of our AIM students was accepted there as well. His name was Luca Kordic. Not only did he get accepted into the program, he finished the entire 12-week intensive study, and then at the end, he won the Most Innovative Student Award. So we wanted to say congrats to both Luca and Professor Bailey for getting AIM's name out there even more for us. I'm going to do some of these out of order. I only have 2 left. So I have awards and acknowledgements. I wanted to say congratulations to Clint Heiner, Professor and Chair of the History Department. He won the Distinguished Colleague Award for May of 2020. So we wanted to say congratulations to him. And the last item I have for you today, I speak for last for kind of a reason. Having been faculty at Ames now for, I don't know, 13 years or so, I've been there. And I feel like this, you know, I'm not counting. So for a minute, and I just feel like this last accomplishment really encompasses the spirit of Ames, to me at least. In the Ag department, instructors of agriculture and industry tech, Chris Schomburg and Lynn Ingigneri, they both created and are in the process of deploying lab kits to several of their classes in the Ag area. Students, they actually put the kits together and now they're delivering them to students. So students that are learning remotely can still have an online or an hands-on component to their classes. Ames being a learning college, right? That's what we're all trying to do, is really make learner-centered things in our classes. And how better could we do that than actually deliver something that they can do hands-on? I just feel like it shows that our faculty at Ames goes the extra mile for students. Not only that, the cost for the kits came out to only $10 a piece, and so thank you to the department. We see that that also shows that we are really paying attention to the needs of our students. And I think just in general, putting together these kits and then delivering them to all of them, it just shows faculty, we just love our students and we're willing to do a lot for them. So I wanted to end with that one today. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll answer.
Questions, Brooke? It doesn't look like it. Thank you. Appreciate
okay,
your
thank
support.
you. Thank you.
Okay, next, Ames Staff Association, Jen Seedorf. She has presented a written report, so you find that in your packet. Next on the agenda, item 8, action items. 8A, 2021 Board of Trustees priorities. They're in your packet. The changes have been made. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to read those. Motion to approve action item 8A.
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve action item 8A, the Board of Trustees priorities. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Did forget to have a little discussion on it, but I'm okay with it.
Okay. 8B, Board of Trustees gratitude for Ames employees. I'm going to read this. We discussed this at our work session and at our retreat, and we'd like to present this today. Board of Trustees, agenda item 8B. We, the Ames Board of Trustees, are sincerely grateful for all the service over and above regular operations each employee has given to Ames Community College, learners, employees, and communities. From March 2020 to the present, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As a gesture of this gratitude, the Board of Trustees offers a temporary Board of Trustees gratitude leave balance. While this is not intended to replace the additional time you gave to keep instruction and services moving forward, 16 hours of leave, prorated based on FTE and not eligible for payout, will be established for full and part-time regular Ames employees working from March 2020 through September 2020. This leave balance will be available for use beginning November 1st, 2020, and will need to be used by October 31st, 2021. Thank you so very much for all the extra plans, the functions, the details, and organization each of you executed and are implementing to keep us all safe and healthy. You are very much appreciated, and we are so very proud of the Ames family. Any discussion? Well, that pretty much says it all, but I just want to emphasize, this is a thank you from the board. It's about all we can do for everything that you have done above and beyond. More than just a job, and we appreciate it.
About that?
Really good stuff. So, having said that, I would entertain a motion to approve action item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we would approve action item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I would second that motion, please.
We have a motion and a second to approve action item 8B. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
I do want to
Go ahead, Mark.
make a statement here. I am totally in agreement with every word in this action item. And I want to thank the college, the staff, Dr. B, faculty, the cabinet. This has been trying times for all of us, and what you guys do is immense. One of the caveats when we were, and I apologize, last week we had a funeral, so I wasn't able to participate in discussion on this item. A close friend passed away, and unfortunately Wednesday afternoon was his funeral. So Gene and I didn't get to participate. But one of the things that you know, we are a gifted college. We can do this. This is amazing. It's heartfelt. And it's important that this board acknowledge our capabilities. I have one suggestion, but it's neither here nor there, maybe for future reference. As time goes along, that, you know, we do have staff that sometimes needs extra time. They might have an illness, they might have a loved one that they need to care for a little bit more closely. We certainly have faculty that have children at home trying to figure out how to balance all of those equations during this period of time. It's got to be humbling. I don't have that because all our kids are growing up, but you know, I came under the understanding we don't have a health bank in our midst, you know, where people can lend their time off for payment for another individual that might need that. And I'm not asking it to be a caveat to this at all whatsoever, but just for future thought, it was one of my thoughts when this got introduced to me initially. Possibly we could have done something that way, in that format, to let people make choices about how they want to spend this. But I firmly believe every word in this, from the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's two long weekends more this next year, which is a great thing because you guys deserve, you know, I don't know how many, you know, I wish we could just take the next 18 months off and everybody get a paycheck, but that's not going to happen. But thank you once again. Consider that leave absent bank in your discussions down the road. I know that's a D deal, and it would be heartwarming. There's a lot of organizations that do that. And it's just a giving thing. It has nothing to do with mandates. It's just a giving thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Dr. Peterson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would agree with everything that Mark has said. I think this is a very limited, as we will, kind of way that we can thank some absolutely wonderful, hardworking, dedicated, concerned, friendly, professional people that populate our campuses. And lordy, the lengths that they went to deal with this COVID-19 stuff is just incredible. I think everybody just about doubled the time that they were expected to spend during their regular hours to, you know, get over this hump. And we're still not over it. We still got problems to deal with. But my goodness, the staff that we have, I believe, just makes it that more easy, maybe, to do than what other organizations might be able to do. And we know that they will continue to work on it and, you know, keep making sure that we don't have any hiccups along the way. I would just ask one thing, Mr. Chairman, and says that they have to use the 16 hours by October 31. Now, if I'm an employee and I have 5 days of leave coming, and then this is added on top of it, so then I would have, what did I say, 7 days of leave. Does that whole thing have to be used by the 31st? How do you know what is being used?
So what HR is going to do and has done is each employee has their own bank of time, their own vacation time, personal time, sick time. This 16 hours, HR is going to put in a sort of like a separate budget line, if you will.
Yeah, right.
So to use your example, if you have 5 hours and you're going to put some additional time to it, those 5 hours could be your vacation time or your personal time. And this other, these hours, these 16 hours will be coming out of a separate bank. So these 16 hours need to be used by October 31st. But these hours, if they're vacation, those are under separate procedures to follow. So it's going to be up to HR and the employee to
Right,
track
yeah.
this.
Everybody's got to say at one time or another, I'm going to use my
Yes, and
time now.
each one of
and
us-
take it out of
Right.
that account. So,
each one of us can go into our own Workday portal, and we have our own
right.
amounts of time that are in there, so we know which bucket to take time
Right.
from.
Oh, thank you. That thought just hit me a little bit ago. Not to be, we're going to have a problem in this way, kind of thing. But anyway, thank you, staff. It is much appreciated, and I think you're very, very deserving of another couple of days off. So I totally support the motion.
Any other comments?
I would just like to say I've been here for 6 months, and the fact that you had to, I mean, to see everything happen anyway, it's been so professional. Everyone's been amazing, friendly, helpful, informative. And then the fact that we had this COVID start halfway through these 6 months, and it seems like Ames just kind of, I'm sure there was some bumps along the road, but it seemed to me that it was very smooth with the bumps included. But that just means that everyone has worked so diligently and continuously. And so I think this is a really nice way to say thank you. It's probably not enough, but it's a nice offer, and hopefully it's used for people to rest, relax, do something. So thank you.
I would move the previous question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is definitely carried.
So on behalf of the college, I want to thank the board for that wonderful gesture of appreciation. As Rudy said it when he was up there, you know, Ames, every single person at Ames is a superstar. And so we're glad that you're very proud of us, as we are proud of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. B. Action item 8C. Dr. Rotharmer, you are up, sir.
Chair Oxliger, member of the board, Dr. Bornstein, thank you for your time this afternoon. I have 3 certificates that I want to ask for your approval for this afternoon, and I share that with you just as a general statement that all of these ladder into our industrial technology AAS degree. And the first one I want to start with is the Industrial Technology Advanced Maintenance Certificate. The certificate consists of classes that already exist here at the college, and it's a rebundling of these courses based on input. As you know, for all of our CTE programs have advisory committees, and the advisory committees suggested these different certificates as part of this AAS degree. One of the things I wanted to share with you in particular on the data on 2 particular roles that students can get after completing the certificate is industrial and machinery mechanics, and also motor related repair, or kind of those jobs that are available. And the average pay range for those are between $22 and $30 per hour. And the projected growth of these areas is between 12% and 30%. So very much meeting the needs of the area. So with that background and what was shared with you last month during the work session, I would request your support in this certificate.
Very good. Any questions of Dr. Rothammer?
Is this just a broad base automation, fix moving parts and pieces that are more in industry, kind of
Yes, sir.
conveyor belts and everything else that goes along with it?
Yeah, very broad. It's installing, repairing all the machinery, you know, in the manufacturing process.
Great.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Entertain a motion.
I'd so move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 8C is passed. Thank you. Item 8D. Dr. Rothammer, you're back up.
Thank you, sir. The next certificate is an Industrial Technology Advanced Automation Certificate. And again, the same rationale applies from our advisory committee. A couple other additional data points in terms of positions. There's robotic technicians as well as electrical engineer technicians. And the pay range for those are between $33 and $36 an hour. And the growth for this particular field is between 2% and 10%. So again, ask the board support in approving the Industrial Technology Advanced Automation Certificate as part of the Industrial Technology AAS degree.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Dr. Rothammer?
I would move, Mr. Chairman, that we pass action item 8D.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on action item 8D. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Dr. Rothammer, item E.
And the third certificate for your consideration this afternoon is actually the first one in that series that ladder up into that AAS degree, is the Industrial Technology Basic Automation and Maintenance Certificate. And the roles in that area are between $15 an hour and $20 an hour. And the growth in that particular field is between 16 and 22% over the next few years. So with that additional information, I would request your approval for the Industrial Technology Basic Automation and Maintenance Certificate.
Russ, is this particular program potentially concurrent based?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
So move. Please accept this one.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve item 8E. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Thank you, sir.
Russ,
And,
what's the
one more time?
wager? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have a question on what's the pay scale on that one?
Okay,
15 to 20.
go ahead.
What's the pay scale on that one? Do you know?
Yes, it is between approximately $15 to $20 an hour.
Cool.
Okay, item 8F. Dr. Rothammer.
As Dean Anderson shared with you during the work session, we are requesting approval to create an LPN or a licensed practical nurse program to our registered nurse program. And the feasibility study shows that there's a need for this in their area, and there currently is not a similar program offered in Northern Colorado. And the program would be offered in the evening, allowing for our classrooms and lab spaces to be used, as well as meeting the needs of working LPNs, and also goes with our overall strategy of offering evening and weekend classes to meet the needs of our working professionals. This area is also projected to continually grow at about a rate of 22%, and the average rate per hour, and again, that's the average, is just over $35 for people who transition from LPN to RN. And so with that information, I would like to request board's approval of the LPN to RN transition program.
I would make a motion to approve the LPN to RN transition program.
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the LPN to RN transition program. Any discussion?
I just asked Dr. Rothammer, don't we already have a working relationship with UNC to move students?
We do. This would strengthen that relationship and create a stronger bridge between the two.
Okay, all right. So this is an improvement on what's already going
Absolutely.
on. Is that
Kind of a UNC to Ames instead of Ames to UNC.
Right.
more?
Kind of a UNC to Ames versus an Ames to UNC, right?
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, I think it's an
Dr. Dean.
excellent idea.
I would just comment, coming from my healthcare background, on what I consider a very strong curriculum for this transition. It's impressive, and I'm really pleased to see Ames offer a program like this. The LPNs have been struggling for a pathway to grow in their career, and this is just an excellent program to offer them.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent program. I don't think we can do any better. So
Sort of like moving from a associate's degree or something to the bachelor's degree in safety science, police science that we approved a while back. Same kind of a thing.
Seems like a great role for a community college.
Yeah.
That's what.
A great role for a community college.
Absolutely.
yeah, I would agree with that. So I believe we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion is carried. Thank you, Dr. Rothar.
Thank you for your support.
You are welcome, sir. Information items. Number one, ACCT conference. Carrie.
Yes, Chair Oxiger. I would just like to confirm who is registered to attend the ACCT conference. And as you know, that will be a virtual conference at a reduced price. So those of you that are still registered to participate are Chair Oxiger, Trustee House, and Trustee O'Hara.
That's correct for me.
That's correct for me.
And me.
Thank you very much.
And me.
You're very welcome. Okay, so briefly, I guess we need to talk a little bit about a debrief from the ACCT conference. I know there have been some options thrown out there, anywhere from getting together and watching it together to watching it individually and getting together for lunch and everything in between. So what would be your pleasure? Do we want to discuss this? Do we want to meet and talk about this at the first day and go over the agenda and kind of divide it up?
I would like to say, Lyle, is since I can't attend, it's just a super busy time for me. I would love to be part of the discussion and listen to what you have to say, so I get something extra. I'd like to learn more that way. So just whatever you decide, I'll see if I can make 1 or 2 hours a day whether it's at noon or at the end of the day.
I would second that. I would certainly like to be included in the debriefing anything, even though I haven't signed up for it. But
We might do a Zoom meeting at the end of the day, say for an hour, 4 to 5, if the college can figure that one out for us. And we can converse for a brief period of time and each have our own little cocktail in our hands. Not to go whole.
wait a minute, I'll sign up.
No, I didn't say that. I did. But I don't know, that would be a decompression time. And so it doesn't, what I suggested last month would be more of an orchestration, but, and given, I don't know, if everybody can hear me, I'm sorry. That's an option for you to listen in on some thoughts, and we take a few notes and kind of write that down. I try to take pretty good notes and try to report back and do that. I think if, I was planning on maybe at least catching 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. I haven't looked at the whole portfolio of, that's there, but, be participative as best as I can for the programs that I find interest in that way. The cost is very reasonable, and when you look at it, it's not you miss an afternoon, it's not going to be the end of the world, but we all have to, you and I work, and you got the rest of us that are gainfully unemployed. And I know you're still counting cows.
Would it work on everybody's schedule for a lunch discussion where we could discuss the afternoon from the day before and the morning sessions? Meet at lunch rather than extending the day there.
And do a belly-to-belly kind of lunch?
Or it can be a Zoom lunch.
Zoom
or,
lunch, okay.
Whatever seems most appropriate.
I think the Zoom lunches sound great because then you get to discuss
Sure.
what happened in the afternoon and then what occurred at noon. So that sounds good to me. What about you, Lau?
Well,
Sure.
an hour isn't much time to discuss much and have lunch. And depending on the scheduling of the sessions, may not be able to attend a lunch one. I don't know.
Okay.
To me, what seems most beneficial is for us to attend the ones we're going to attend and then have an extended work session with all of us there. And we don't have to worry about posting a meeting and that kind of stuff, which we would have to, if we're going to meet for lunch,
Yeah, it's
there's
good.
more than two of us there, we have to post it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And and then we have to drive from home and get there and order lunch and have lunch and then drive back to wherever. It seems to me awfully time consuming. And so for all of those reasons, I think I would suggest that we just have a work session and all of us can participate in that and all of us can benefit from that discussion.
But just for clarification, I was referring more to a Zoom lunch meeting, not
Zoom,
recognizing that there would be some travel time if we were getting together face to face. I don't know that would be necessary.
You did say that. I apologize. Yep. So
I'm good with a follow-up work session as long as we give like 45 minutes to it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think we need to give it
I don't
some
know how
time.
busy October's work session is going to be.
Well, it just got longer.
Well,
I'm up either way.
yeah, I think you three need to maybe get your heads together and figure out what's best for you. And then Heidi and I
We'll join in.
can join. Wonderful. If we can't, well, then we'll just miss out on that. But for one, I sort of like the work session idea.
You do like it?
Mr. Chairman, yeah. Just my 2 cents worth.
Okay. Is that a consensus?
It's fine with me.
I'm not going to vote on this.
Okay. Let's do a work session.
Gotta make a decision.
Yep. That's what I just did. Let's do a work session.
Okay.
Okay?
I think you gave it,
And we'll do a scale. I think we have a meeting like a couple of days after,
It's almost the day
after the ACCT, so be fresh in our minds and we ought to be able to have a good discussion over that.
And you know, my way of thinking, a work session can start at any time. I mean, I'm shooting the whole day, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll start a little earlier.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know.
yeah,
So you think 45 minutes?
yeah, we could.
Somewhere in 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere in there. Yeah, we'll schedule it. Okay. Thank you very much.
I also like the idea of you guys getting together and decide, you know, what workshops you're going to attend and maybe divvy them up as we.
Yeah, I think just
Acct conferences.
That's a good idea.
So we don't all end up in the same.
in the same one. Yeah.
That's true. That is a good point.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense to have two of us in the same one. We can cover a lot more ground if we.
Right.
Okay, next, board calendar. The board calendar is posted. We have it up here. Well, today's over. September 15th is Convocation Day, Community of Care from 8:30 to 12. It says here virtual details are forthcoming, so I assume it's going to be a Zoom meeting or a virtual meeting. Okay.
And you want to
Want to use mine?
Yeah, just jack that one. If it's not on.
That's okay, I'll go down there.
Yes, Convocation Day is on the 15th, and that will be a virtual event in the morning from 8:30 to 12. I have been in contact with the committee, and a link will be available probably Friday, and I will get that out to you as soon as it's provided for me for you to join that event. Any questions?
Can you repeat that, Carrie?
Yes, it'll be a virtual event on the 15th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. And I will receive the link for you all to join virtually. It'll probably come out this Friday to me, and I will forward that to you as soon as I receive it.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
And the next we've talked about October 5 to 8 is the ACC Leadership Conference. We're aware of that. October 14th is our next Board of Trustees.
over your shoulder to make it. It's just hard to hear and like, keep going. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Any questions on the calendar?
Where are we meeting on the 14th?
I don't know yet. I don't think a meeting has been determined, has it?
Oh, that's right. October usually is Windsor campus.
Okay. It could change.
But it could
That's okay.
change, yeah. Okay. It's sort of like this event, we were trying to make sure we could have it here. Check out a few things, but that's where it's intended to be.
Yeah. Okay. So tentatively, we'll say Windsor, but our calendar says to be determined. So I assume if there's a change, we'll hear it by email of the normal communication. So I'm sure everybody knows. That's it for the board calendar of events. Next on the agenda is the CEO President's Report. Dr. Bornstein.
Thank you. I'll ask Dr. Rothmer to come up and give highlights from the EVP Academic Affairs Office. And there's a specific report, the assessment report that he's also going to review.
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein, members of the board. In your packet of information, what I wanted to focus on my quick couple of minutes with you this afternoon is the curricular assessment and common learning outcomes document. So if you remember last year at this time, we kind of presented the results of our 5-year plan and that we'd be starting a new plan this coming year. And one of the things I guess I wanted to do was to kind of reset that foundation for us as we look at how we're moving forward to the future. And oftentimes in higher education, as in many other industries, we love our acronyms and we throw out things assuming people know what we mean. And since this is kind of not only a very important topic, but also one of those that we tend to use words and terminology that we believe people mean, I want to just take a couple of moments to highlight for you kind of what we're focusing on and why, and sharing those definitions. So when we talk about the curricular assessment, and really assessment is our educational process where we measure what our students are learning. So that's really going to be kind of the focus as we look at these different pieces in terms of an assessment project. And then it's really about how our faculty are evaluating that student attainment to those knowledge, skills, and abilities that are so important. So if you think about the action items that we took a little bit earlier on those certificates in that program, each of those has learning outcomes that we measure and as we move forward. One of the other things, as we reported last year at this time, is the college has 5 common learning outcomes, where you'll see the acronym CLOs. And those are skills that are identified necessary for students to be successful across the organization for everything that they do. And our common learning outcomes for the college are written communication, problem solving, critical thinking, oral communication, and professionalism. And oftentimes when we have these conversations, people think those skills are just developed in the classroom and who teaches them as they think about faculty. Where in reality, do those happen in the classroom? Absolutely. But that actually happens across the whole organization. And as you know, just reflecting upon our other items in our meeting today, and you saw our Excellence at Ames student and the touch points that he had throughout the organization. These are really where a lot of those CLOs or common learning outcomes also come from, is that interaction, whether it's in student services and facilities and other areas. So when you look at that handout on who teaches our common learning outcomes, and really, as we put in that document, the simple answer is everyone. So every one of us, as we come in contact with our students, has that impact. It has the potential impact on those outcomes. And really, as we look at kind of resetting the stage and sharing these definitions with you, we're in that new 5-year process, and we have a new curricular assessment committee that was established this year in 2020, and they'll be moving this important work forward for us. And it really isn't about we do it because of the Higher Learning Commission or to be accredited. It is for those learning outcomes to see how our students continually progress and to grow. And that's really what I wanted to share with you this afternoon, is kind of what we did in the last 5 years and then where we're going to in the next 5 years. So with that as kind of a high level overview, did you have any questions about the document that was in your packet or the other notes that were included?
Well, I guess I would ask, it seems to me that maybe I'm missing it or whatever, but
Yeah.
isn't there a in-service training, communication, something that would sort of define the goals and set everybody on the right path?
So for the common learning outcomes, they were established, you know, by the Ames as a learning college, and these 5 items were looked at to say everyone should have those. Not meaning that those will be the only ones, but certainly the ones that we want everyone who comes to Ames to have that experience and opportunity to develop those outcomes. I don't know if that answered your question or if I didn't hear it. Or what?
Well, I guess it just seems like there ought to be more than just a paper document. That there ought to be, I don't know, communication, in service, whatever you call it, to sort of make sure everybody's on, well, to not make sure, but at least attempt to get as much understanding of what we're talking about as you can. Not making any sense, am I?
I'm not tracking, if anyone could help me.
Are you talking about what he was talking about with regard to accreditation? Or
It just seems like there ought to be some
you're saying,
service or something. Okay.
how did this occur, right?
Yeah.
Is there a yeah. Okay.
We know that the evaluation is, we know it's going to occur because we'll do it, but
Oh, to
how
train
do you
people to get to
the
that
first
point.
place?
Okay, so kind of like what FTLC does to support faculty as they're building their curriculum so that they're supported to best meet these. Can you talk a little bit about how that occurs?
Well, certainly in each of the courses, they have outcomes as well as the programs have outcomes,
Right.
and all of those are measured. So those are kind of the instructional aspects. But one of the things, and Dr. Weisgaber, we'll talk about more of it as we get into 2020, but there are so many other activities that happen around the college that we're starting to measure those co-curricular pieces to say, what impact those have on students being able to meet these common learning outcomes. So it's not just in the classroom or the FTLC, it's all the different programming that we do for students, as well as any of the informal and formal interactions that we work with in students.
Okay. Thank you.
Sort of.
I think so.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, Ross. All right. Dr. Jensen would like to give us our monthly budget update and some highlights from administrative services, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, I'll start with the budget report. You have before you the budget report as of July 31st, 2020. This is, of course, the first month of the fiscal year. Typically, this is usually one of the most uneventful conversations I ever have with the board, being the first month of the fiscal year. But this, of course, is not a usual year. I am happy to report as we look at our revenue projections that we set last May when the budget was approved. We are seeing, of course, some softening in our tuition revenues due to enrollment issues. And so what we had budgeted last year. And so I'll be diving into this far more deep in our November meeting. That's when budget assumptions come to the board. And that's really the first real in-depth look at fiscal year 22 and diving into fiscal year 21 at a deeper level. So for the purposes of the meeting today, I'll just give some brief comments. But again, as we look at our budget that was set last May, again, we'll see some softening in our tuition. We've seen a little bit of a softening in our state appropriations. And again, I'll have those details in more depth when we get into the November meeting. But I'm also happy to report that on our general property taxes, I've actually seen a higher assessed value coming in preliminarily from the county than I set last May. So there's good and bad in our revenue picture for next year or for this year. Softening in tuition, state appropriations, but some strength in our general property taxes. Again, as we're all familiar, our property taxes are in arrear. So what we're getting in taxes now happened, 12 to 18 months ago. So again, pre-pandemic. So at this point, our fiscal year 21 budget is still very strong, very stable, and I'm happy to report that. Nothing to point out into our expenditures. Again, we'll see some savings, of course, occurring in our travel and some of our other operating areas just because of our no travel right now for any of our staff and things like that. So that's a real quick overview of 21. Again, stable. And so I stand for any questions on fiscal year 21.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Other highlights, of course, Mike gave a complete overview of where F&O is and the project, so I won't go into that. And the other, of course, major event in division is our continuation of our ERP implementation of Workday into student. We successfully launched HCM and finance in July, first part of July, and we're continuing to refine that. And we began our 2-year process now on implementing the student portion of Workday. And that's Sarah and Russ's areas as they embark upon that journey for the next 24 months. Or I think Brad actually had it down to days at one point in time, but again, a very major undertaking by that part of campus. And as we reported out this morning, our project manager reported out this morning, we had executive steering committee every week on that. All lights are green. We get updates every week from our project management team on where that is going. And so as of this morning, all lights are green on the ERP Workday student. So I stand for any other questions that you may have. All right.
Looks good.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I was sitting there earlier, and I know you had indicated that the excellent and Ames was your favorite priority of the board meeting. I'm hoping budget is like your 4th or 5th. Is that where about stands? Is that?
Thank you, Chuck. Dr. Weisgeber would like to give us some highlights from the SACE division.
Good afternoon, Chair Oxiger, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Bornstein. I'm excited to be here with you today. Over the last couple of months, I've taken the opportunity to share with you a little bit about what the SACE Division is doing in effort to support students with our current COVID environment. I'm excited because Ames has taken on this idea of community of care as really our theme for this year, as we're trying to really wrap our arms around our students, our staff, and our faculty, and let them know that we care about what they're doing. One of the ways we're doing this in the SACE Division is through a process called Carefronting. And Carefronting, as you saw in your packet, came from the amazing creativity of our Dean of Students, Shannon McCathland, with this idea of how we were going to help our community wear masks, social distance, and make sure that they're following all the proper health protocols. So as you can see in the handout that I've provided you, Carefrontation is really about approaching students or our colleagues with curiosity, with a lot of grace, of recognizing that we all make accidental mistakes, stand a little too close, maybe forget to wear a mask occasionally. It's about authenticity and coming to conversations with our students from a place of care and engagement. It's about responding before we react. I will say that Dean McCaslin and Assistant Dean Jones have amazing things to teach us about how we can engage with students in a way that maintains the respect to the student, but also helps us engage in a meaningful way from an institutional level. And of course, then keeping in mind our environment and creating a safe space for that. So really excited about the work that they've done. They've been training both student groups as well as faculty groups and staff groups around Carefrontation. Second highlight I would like to share with you is a little bit about Ames to UNC. As you see on the in the packet for you, Ames to UNC, last year we served a total of 117 students. This year, as of the date that I submitted this in September or in August, we had served 132 students. Very happy to say that we are at now 139 students. We have 61 new students in the program just this year. We're one student away from our goal of increasing our participation by 20%. We have 16 students who are currently living in the residence halls at UNC, and 26 students transitioned last year to UNC. So I think we're seeing great success with this program. I can't wait to come back with more exciting information as we move forward. Last little bit of information I would give you from the operation and program side is, as of the 24th of August, financial aid had dispersed $4.2 million to students at Ames. That was a combination of federal, state, and private institutional money. 3.6 million of that was free money, so scholarships, aid, grants, that sort of thing. Very excited to tell you that as of today, we're up to a total of 4.76 million. So every day as we move forward, we continue to disperse more money, which is great news for our students. The CARES grant will be dispersed on, let's see, what date are we on right now? The 9th? The 10th. CARES money will be dispersed tomorrow. So the final 600,000 of the federal CARES money will be dispersed automatically to students tomorrow. And those are students who were here in the spring who were impacted by COVID. So really excited to be able to give that opportunity to our students. With that, I would stand for any questions that you might have, either over what I've shared with you here or anything else regarding this SACE area.
How's enrollment? Enrollment?
Enrollment.
Or is that kind of early to tell right now?
We will hit our final drop date this week, where we'll have a better sense of what our final enrollment is. We're still looking at probably being down somewhere between 15 and 20%, but we don't know exactly what that will look like.
You wouldn't know the reasons for that other than straight COVID, don't know after that, just kind of a.
I think it's a combination of reasons. And those reasons really range from looking at our overall volume of students who are coming to us from high schools, who are graduating from high school. So we anticipated being down slightly anyway. We have some, I think, some COVID issues that kept students from enrolling. We anticipated having more community students enroll, but there was a great opportunity at UNC for them to keep the students who were intending to go to UNC. And so the students we thought might come to Ames chose not to. We also know that that because of the changes in the way classes were at District 6 and high schools across the state, that we haven't seen quite as much concurrent enrollment as we had previously. So it truly is a combination of many, many things that we're seeing. I would say, and Dr. Rothmer and I talked about this a little bit earlier, we're about middle of the pack in terms of being down in enrollment. We're not the lowest, but we're not the highest either.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any, how many of these are new students? How many are continuing students? Do you have that number? I mean, is one maybe way out of kilter compared to what it should be, or?
Based on our enrollment reports up to this point, we can certainly provide you a more definitive answer when we have a stronger number.
Okay.
But based on what we're seeing in trends so far, we know that our highest number of students that's making up our enrollment right now is our returning students, which says a lot of really great things about what we're doing, because it's the students who have been at Ames who are coming back in greatest numbers. Our lowest number is our brand new students. And that can be for a whole host of reasons.
Right, yeah. That would only make sense.
Yes, Dr. Weisgeber, is there any particular curriculum in the Ames to UNC program that seems to attract students to that program? Is it business, is it nursing, or is it across the board?
I'm pondering because I'm imagining the chart in my head that has some of our top 5 majors, and I'm not thinking of them off the top of my head. I know they're predominantly in the liberal arts area. Business and nursing, Dr. Rothmer saying business and nursing, thank you.
Okay.
And psychology.
I suspected that might be the case. But
yeah. Okay. So great question. Other questions?
Any others?
Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you. I also just wanted to mention with regard to enrollment, Dr. Weisgeber sort of underplayed the activities that's been going on lately out of recruitment, but you may recall last month when we met, there were moments of time when we were comparing enrollment for fall semester where we were down in the negative upper 30s. As of today, even though things will change, we're down, even though we're down to negative 16. So moving that needle from the negative upper 30s to negative 16 has taken a lot of effort and good work from the recruiting team, and not just recruiting, but really all of SACE. There have been, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but there have been 3 call campaigns where almost every SACE employee were calling different groups of students, potential students, to find out what their plans are, to help them enroll and so forth. So there's been a lot of effort to move that needle. So she underplayed that, but I think it's important for you to know that it could have been a whole heck of a lot worse.
This is a lot different from what you talked about earlier.
This is different. Yeah, this is a whole different environment, and we're not the only one. You know, as Sarah had mentioned, it's across the country. When I talk to CEOs and so forth, we've had meetings, of course, constantly. CEOs and presidents are celebrating when they have flat 0 to -10%. They're celebrating. And that just can go, actually, there's a couple of institutions that I was talking to recently that are half, -50% of their enrollment they're missing this year. So we are sort of middle of the pack. And again, just kudos to the SACE division recruiting team. And I know you all are out there, so good work, everybody.
Very good.
Okay, we were going to have an update from Marketing Communications. Zach was not able to be with us today. He would like to present this information to you next month during the President's Report. It's already in your packet. This was an audit, if you will, of the messaging through our COVID. You may remember that at one point we gave you an audit on all the activities that the college had been engaged in with regard to COVID, to support students, to support our community, to support our employees. What we did not do, but we would like to do, and he'll do next month, is all the messaging that's been going out through our communications program to the community. So he will be doing that next month. And so that brings to President's Meetings of Note. You have that in your packet. You'll notice it's shorter than last month, and the reason is because last month had 3 months, had the summer activities all in it, June, July, and August, and this is, I should say, May, June, and July, and so this is for August. Are there any questions about the President's Meetings of Note? And if not, I'll move to the next section. There's an employee report in there as well. You'll also see there are 2 times typically in the year where we have lots of new positions, lots of new hires, and that usually you see in our July, August, and September time periods. So that's when folks are getting settled and moving into their new jobs. So that's why you see a whole bunch right there of primarily instructor and instructor positions. Sorry, I said that twice. Primarily instructor positions there as we move forward. And typically, for those of you out there, we usually ask supervisors to introduce their new folks. Because of our environment, we just certainly want to welcome all new folks to Ames, and glad you're here. And hopefully at some point, we'll be able to introduce them to you as the board, and you as the board to them. So that concludes the President's report.
I just want to say it's incredibly encouraging to see all the certified flight instructors. For a while there.
Great. You want to say that into your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to say it's incredibly encouraging to see all the flight instructors on there. They were telling us for a while that they couldn't find flight instructors. So to see that turnaround like that is very encouraging. Kudos to that effort.
I noticed that pretty early on. And about every other position, there's something about flight instructor. And that,
do you want to say anything about that?
A lot of planes not flying out there.
We got planes to fly, I think, is now.
No
deal.
I mean, commercial planes, there's not a lot of them flying right now.
You know, earlier, I got here earlier and I was talking to Eric, our director, and there were several of them up there in a room going through introductions or whatever, and he was telling me what a vast area they cover relative to where they're from. I mean, some from all over the country. So the Ames program is very, very well known nationally and internationally. So great effort. We're doing exactly what we wanted to do.
Right, and this was part of the, really almost the last phase of our commitment to supporting and growing the aviation program. Remember, we are renting additional planes. We increased our inventory of planes. You remember seeing some of those. And then the last part of that was staffing the program. So it truly, as you heard Eric mention, the program has doubled. Well, potentially it could even triple. And so in order to do that, we needed the staff. So this was the last push to really support the program in its efforts to double and triple its enrollment. So.
Yep.
You know, I just wonder, Lyle said we're known all over the country and we get students from all over the country. And obviously we've got the best program in the world, no doubt about that. But I wonder if the cost affects it in some way. I mean, or do we do it to less cost than say someplace else? I don't know.
I guess we'd have to get back to you on that one. Okay, I'm getting the thumbs up. We'd have to get back to you on that because we don't know off the top of our head.
I think that'd be interesting
What
to
the cost analysis
see what the influence, or get some feel for it as to the cost.
Sure. Yeah. And how it has comparison to
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting question to find out whether they're here for the cost or for the quality, or both.
Yeah.
And I would suspect that it's probably some of both. Certainly the quality we know is there. So,
Dr. Beed, I think it was last meeting, I think it was Zach who did that great slideshow presentation or PowerPoint on how much percentage each of the campuses affected the economy. It'd be kind of interesting to see how this place in a year affected the economy. I mean, that would be really hard data. I don't know if it's hard to gather if it takes 3 to 5 years to see the impact of the economy,
of this program,
based on this facility.
Yeah. We can see what we can do with that. I don't want it to be too much work. Well, it will be a bit of work, and what we'll be able to present might be a little bit convoluted because the whole aviation program is not located here.
Right.
The aviation program is split. This is the flight training center, and then classes and simulations and so forth are in Greeley at the aviation building. So.
That would be hard then.
Yeah, we'll do our best. We'll do our best, and
maybe
we'll get
we
you
shouldn't
one.
do it yet, or wait a couple of years, maybe after 3 years, or.
Yeah, we'll see what we got. I can see Russ texting over there, so I'm sure he's asking those questions. So.
It's such an impressive.
if we talk long enough, you'll have an answer.
Okay, so on that note, I'll say, and that concludes the president's report.
There you go.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Comments from board members?
Oh.
Who wants to comment, Gene?
I'll start off by just saying it's always nice to come out here and see this beautiful building and the planes and so forth. It just reminds us of the positive growth that we're going through at Ames, and the great discussion today, hearing what the foundation's doing, what's happening with our building program. It was a good meeting, very uplifting meeting as usual.
Very good.
I would agree with what Jean said. I spoke to Ray in the bus when we were doing our tour, and I said, well, this has been here for 3 or 4 years. The program's been here at least 4 years. He said, and that's when we found out it was 380 days. I mean, for what has been accomplished in that short of time here is just very impressive. It's very nice. And I can't wait to tell more and more people about it. So thank you.
I would just add that, I'm always amazed at the quality of our staff. It's just, we absolutely have the top-notch individuals everywhere. and really are doing a good job. I really like the tour that we got of the tower, or whatever, the control of the airport, which, you know, really was interesting, answered a lot of questions, and just very educational in my way of thinking. And I go back to, I don't know, 3 or 4 meetings back, I think that the request of Trustee O'Hare that we do the same thing with the medical allied health programs, and again, really eye-opening to me. I really found out what we were doing and really getting down into the depth of the thing. And so I guess where I'm going with this is to make a request that we do that often, every time if we can, you know, to really get some in-depth understanding as to what a particular program or study area is all about. Sort of like when we hear the report of the achievement from a student, man, that's good. That's really good.
Exactly.
So, okay, next, Mark.
It's a blessing, you know, being on the board for the past, 5 years now, going on 5 years. It seems like for every year we're on the board, we step another 5 years into the future. And it's a gift that you guys give to us. And, you know, we get to understand it more each year. And obviously the tour today was one of those steps. 10 years ago, couldn't imagine walking into a room like that. But, you know, truly, for every year I've been on this board, I think, you know, we've gone 20 years into the future or more. And certainly this facility is that. The new campus will be that. What we do with education, we're learning some new ways and looking at some of the old ways, which still always work, but it's been a gift that you've given us, you know, and thank you.
Thank you, Art. Yeah, I would certainly echo everything that's been said. It's interesting, I was downtown Greeley day before yesterday. As a matter of fact, I was driving around getting some information from my brother, and I happened to be close, so I drove by the old Lincoln School, which used to be Ames, and it's where I first started in 1971. And then I come over here today and see this facility, and I reflect on how far we've really come. It's just absolutely incredible. And then to sit through this meeting and go through as many instances as we did today of complimenting one another and telling each other what a great facility we have, what a great group of people we have, what a great job we're doing, and all these other things. And it's all positive. I didn't hear anything negative today at all. I never do. It's amazing. And it's the people that make that possible. It's the people that drive that. And I just can't say enough good about our staff and everybody that we have and the job we're doing. And I fully look forward to us getting another Employer of the Year award this year. So, and well deserved.
We took a year off, but it looks like, it sounds like Dee might be engaging us this fall.
Wonderful.
I think maybe next year, maybe we'll see.
So, yeah, it's a great institution. And to hear the students, I was here earlier and heard some of the students out there, the flight students, talking about what a great place, and then our excellent Ames and Rudy talk about the compassion and the dedication and the support that he got from his instructors reminds me so much of what I've told you all before, what I got when I just got back from Vietnam and had no idea what I was going to do. And certainly didn't think I'd ever succeed in school, but I got that same compassion and support and everything else from Ames, and it's what got me going. So, you know, I'm just very, very, very proud of everything here.
I'd just like to make one more comment, Mr. Chair.
Let's see, is there, yeah, there's room. Go ahead.
I just, I think one of the really neat things that I've heard today is this community of care. It's what we're talking about. It's a big family that everybody is doing their best, and it's not just in the classroom. It's throughout the whole system. But we care, and we'll help you. So I just, okay, I'm done. Let's.
All right, Dr. Ray's done. It's official. Okay, assessment of board meeting. What did we learn? Did we learn anything new?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, we always learn something. Yeah, it's a great place to be. And oh my gosh, the stuff over at the control tower, yeah, we learned a lot. That was worth everything. Anything not work today? I think everything worked. We focus on.
My sandwich was lousy.
Okay. Sandwich was lousy.
No more.
That's right.
Who's trying to sell beef?
I gotta get some good beef to these.
Okay, we got a check mark by that. Did we focus on oversight, strategy, and challenges? We always do. Yeah. I don't think we deviated from that at all. Did we receive the information we needed to have an effective conversation? Absolutely. We just get tons of information. I just love it. We just, sometimes it's a lot to read, but it's always good stuff. So thank you for that. And certainly everybody got the opportunity to speak. So any other comments? Need to hurry, Ray.
No.
Yeah, hearing,
Okay,
one more. Okay, hearing none. We're adjourned. Thank you.